Sean van der Linde's BMW and Julian Bailey's Toyota Camry shared the third row, followed by Craig Baird in the second Enviro car and Duncan Foss's Nissan on row 4. Grant McCleary's Opel and Dion Joubert's Motorplan BMW out. The green light and Chris Aberdeen and Mike Briggs are away cleanly. Killarney has been notorious for start line drama and this year's AF League Championship. And it's happening again. There's mayhem in the middle of the field. One of the BMWs has hit the tyre wall under the Goodyear Bridge, and a Nissan was also involved. The Scania Audi Quattro is one of 6 or 7 cars scattered across the circuit, and no doubt about it, this race will be stopped. The Killarney start line bogey has struck again. Chris Aberdeen and Terry Moss are out in front in the 2 Rotmus Audis, but the race has been stopped. A race cam action replay from Julian Bailey's Minolta Toyota Camry. The Camry moves up alongside Janelle de Villiers and the BP Nissan Sentra. It looks as though de Villiers either misses a gear or the Nissan cuts out. There's contact between Toyota and Nissan, and that starts off a chain reaction. Oh, and Craig Baird isn't going anywhere in the BMW Enviro car either, and Henny Groenewald in the Scania Audi. Another look at the start from a different angle, and Craig Baird is catapulted into the tyre wall by de Villiers and Sentra. Grant McCleary's Opel Vectra was also involved, along with Henny Groenewald in the Scania Audi, who had nowhere to go. That's Christopher van Wyck's BMW. He's one of the Class B runners with Ferdy de Vos in the SAC Motorbiel BMW, also involved, although the damage doesn't look too severe. Grant McCleary's Opel Vectra also doesn't look too badly damaged, with the Opel team keen to get the car back to the pits. And that's a costly accident where the BMW factory team is concerned. The restart, and can they get it right this time around? There are a few empty places on the grid after the carnage at the first start. The Baird, McCleary, de Villiers, Groenewald, de Vos and Van Wyck all missing. This looks more promising with the 2 Rotmus Audis out in front. Mike Briggs is third in the Opel, Sean van der Linde fourth in the BMW Enviro car, with Julian Bailey and Dion Joubert tucked in behind him. Duncan Foss was forced to go the long way around Conti Corner, but we've avoided a repeat of the earlier fiasco in the Tisaclibby, and that is out in front of the penultimate race of the AF Fleet Care Super Touring Car Championship. Dave Repsol leads the Class B pack in the Audemars Toyota, and a spot of bother there for Charles Wilkin in the bank from Corolla. He got onto the slippery stuff on the outside of the circuit. The oval turn, and the championship runner-up finds himself at the back of the field on lap. Cam action from Julian Bailey's Minolta Toyota Camry. Bailey won a year in July, but he's down in 5th position with the Briggs Opel and Van der Linde's BMW Enviro car ahead of him as they head down the back straight for the first time. There are 9 points separating race leader Chris Aberdeen and championship leader Terry Moss in the title chase. And even at this early stage, you can take a small wager that the pair will be quite happy to stay exactly where they are. Aberdeen has to win both races to stay in the championship hunt, and he will only be thinking in terms of winning. With a 9-point cushion, Moss can afford to take a more circumspect approach, and it will be surprising if he starts putting pressure on Aberdeen. The last thing Aberdeen and Moss want to do is take each other off and spoil a whole season's hard work. Outgoing champion Mike Briggs has only won once this season in the Opel Motorsport Vectra, and he's keeping in touch with the 2 Audis. Sean van der Linde in 4th place has dropped back a car length or 2 in the BMW Enviro car, and a Julian Bailey's Minolta Camry right on his tail. Dion Joubert is 6th in the Motorplan BMW, with Duncan Foss next up in the BP Nissan Sentra. Anthony Taylor is the last of the Class A cars in the Castrol Toyota Camry, and he's looking for his first points of the year in what has been a season the Krugersdorp youngster would rather forget. Race cam action from the Moss Audi, and keep an eye on the lights at the top of the dashboard and the digital printout in front of Moss. The lights flicker when the engine is at full revs, with a digital readout telling the driver what gear he is in. There's no change in the race order, the rain has stayed away, and all the cars are out on slick tyres. It's a cold, cloudy and windy day, but although the Audi's drivers won't be too disappointed if there are a few drops of rain. With 4-wheel drive, a little rain will provide Aberdeen and Moss with a little extra advantage over the 2-wheel drive cars, but at this stage they look to be in complete control of proceedings. We're on board now with a race cam in Julian Bailey's Minolta Toyota Camry. Bailey has been stuck behind Sean van der Linde since the start and hasn't been able to make any real impression on the BMW Enviro car. Bailey gave Toyota their only win of the season so far here at Killarney in July, but a repeat performance doesn't look to be on the cards in this race. Mike Briggs is still in touch with the 2 Audis, but Aberdeen and Moss don't appear to be under any sort of duress. The Class B battle, and Dave Repsol is still out in front in the Automark Toyota Corolla. Repsol is being chased by Nico van Rensburg in the Hillbank Nissan Sentra and George Besaidnout in the Nissan Engine Exchange Sentra, in which Duncan Foss won last year's Class B championship. Repsol will be reveling in the situation. After a bright start to the season, he has had a tough time of it, and this is his best showing since the early rounds of the championship. The leading trio have pulled a big gap over Charles Wilkin, who has moved ahead of Jesse Huggett and Sigrid Nair in the Volkswagen Jettas. Back to the Class A brigade and the race leaders. Nothing has changed, with Chris Aberdeen still leading from his Rothmans Audi teammate Terry Moss. Outgoing champion Mike Briggs is still hanging into third place, and the Opel Vectra with Sean van der Linde fourth and Julian Bailey fifth. Fourth place isn't doing van der Linde's famed championship hopes any good, and he may have a problem. There were little puffs of smoke from the BMW, clearly visible from the race cam action from Julian Bailey's Minolta Camry, and van der Linde may be battling with a mechanical problem. We'll keep an eye on the BMW, but if he does have a problem, it is not slowing van der Linde at this stage. Oh, and that was a big moment for Duncan Foss in the BP Nissan Sentra as he put a wheel on the dirt. Foss's heartbeat will have gone up a few notches after that, but all is serene where Terry Moss is concerned. The two Rothmans Audis are slowly starting to edge away from Mike Briggs, and that means they are also edging away from Sean van der Linde, who has to win this race to keep alive his championship hopes. BMW haven't won a Super Touring race at Killarney since August 1993, and van der Linde's famed championship hopes are slipping away. No change in the race order, with Aberdeen still leading from Moss, Briggs, van der Linde and Bailey. Briggs is losing ground to Aberdeen and Moss, and the Audis have this one under control. Van der Linde is still holding off Bailey, but there are those little puffs of smoke from the back of the BMW Envirocar. Van der Linde is starting to lose touch with Briggs, and he definitely has a problem with bodywork rubbing against a tyre, or an oil pipe is busy working loose. Whatever the problem, Van der Linde is managing to keep Bailey at arm's length. A good scrap is developing here, with both Bjorn Joubert and Duncan Foss making it a four-car train, but it certainly looks as though Van der Linde is going to be eliminated from the championship equation. This is the Class B battle, with Dave Repsol's Automark Toyota still out in front of the Nissan Sentras of Nico van Rensburg and George Besaidnout, with championship runner-up Charles Wilkin a long way back in fourth place in the Bankman Corolla after his first lap off-road excursion. Repsol and van Rensburg have yet to win a Super Touring race, with champion Van Lategem, Wilkin and Besaidnout the only Class B winners this season. Van Rensburg is starting to put a little pressure on Repsol, and this battle could produce a terrific finish. Two laps to go, and the Audis are cruising to a 1-2 whitewash. And Class B leader Dave Repsol is in trouble. Repsol is touring slowly around as Nico van Rensburg takes the Class B lead. And Duncan Foss is up into fourth place in the Class A field. Julian Bailey has gone missing. Foss is ahead of Sean van der Linde, and it's all happening in the closing stages of the penultimate race of the season. Oh, and Charles Wilkin has spun out again in the Bankman Corolla, and George Besaidnout has also gone missing. Nico van Rensburg now leads Class B from the Volkswagen Jettas of Jesse Huggett and Sigrid Nair, and Duncan Foss is challenging Michael Briggs for the third place in Class A, and we have action. Class B leader Nico van Rensburg politely moves out of the way as Briggs and Foss go through on the inside at Conti, and Foss is challenging for a podium finish. Pit lane and disappointment for Dave Repsol, but back at the front of the field, Chris Aberdeen and Terry Moss will finish first and second, and the 1996 AA Fleet Super Touring Championship will be decided in the final race of the season. Aberdeen's sixth win of the year will bring him to within 6 points of Moss, and the championship is going to the wire. A lap and a bit to go, and Mike Briggs and Foss could also produce a grandstand finish in the battle for third and fourth. It hasn't been a happy season for the BP Nissan squad, but this has been a terrific performance from Foss, and he has Briggs in his sights. Foss will chase Briggs all the way to the line, but here are the drivers and the cars of the moment. Between them, Chris Aberdeen and Terry Moss have won 10 races this season, with an 11th coming up. And despite a 30-kilogram weight penalty imposed on the team midway through the season, the Rothmans Audis have been the cars to beat all year. Audi will add the South African Championship to their list of international successes this year. They lead all 7 championships in which they are competing, and has already won the British title. battle for third and fourth, and Duncan Foss is moving to within striking distance of Mike Briggs. Sean van der Linde is fifth, with smoke now pouring from the back of the BMW Enviro car. Dion Jabeur is in the points in sixth place in the Motorplan BMW, with Anthony Taylor. The final lap, and everything has fallen into place for the Rothmans Audi team. Aberdeen dominated both qualifying sessions to take pole position and has led from the start. Aberdeen had to win this race to keep alive his championship hopes, but Moss has done the sensible thing by driving for the points, and the advantage is going to be all his going into the last race of the season. It's been pretty uneventful for the Rothmans Audis, but Charles Wilkin has had an exciting time of it with 2 spins, and now he's cruising around in the Bankfront Toyota Corolla. Whatever happens today, Wilkin will finish second to Hein Ladegan in the Class B Championship, but here come the Rothmans Audis to take the checkered flag with 1 race remaining in the 1996 AA Fleetcare Super Touring Championship. A double triumph for the Rothmans Audi team, a podium finish for Mike Briggs, a terrific result for the BP Nissan team, and Sean van der Linde's fifth eliminates him from the championship race. A maiden Super Touring win for Nico van Rensburg in Class B, and Jesse Huggett and Sager Nair pick up their best results of the season in the Volkswagen Jettas as Aberdeen mocks traditional bubbly.
Put it this way, Audi has it, and I think they're fortunate to have 2 professional drivers. And if Audi equally deserves to have won it, and vice versa.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think after the first heat, Audi have won it. If one of us will take it away. But I think at the end of the day, it's a victory for the team, and it's been a hard year. We were good in the beginning, it'll have been right at the end, and we're all very happy.
Happiness too for Sager Nair and Jesse Huggett with their first podium finishes of the year, and a maiden Super Touring win for Nico van Rensburg.
Yes, I'm very happy, and I've got to thank Glenn Hall from Nissan Motorsport, stood behind me and backed me and helped, and also Lance and the team from, and especially my wife, who stood by me all the time to help me to achieve it.
A few races against time were going on in the pits between Super Touring races. The carnage at the start of the aborted first race and wear and tear when proceedings finally got underway left technical crew up and down pit lane with repair jobs that ranged from the major to the minor. Hardest hit were the BP Nissan and Opel Motorsport teams, who were called on to perform minor miracles. The grid for the final race of the season saw Chris Aberdeen and Jamil de Villiers share the front row, with Terry Moss and Mike Briggs on row 2. Nissan and Toyota shared row 3 via Duncan Foss and Julian Bailey, with 2 BMW factory cars on the 4th row. Anthony Taylor and Grant McCleary rounded out the top 10. The final Super Touring race of the national season, with the grid bolstered by the return of a few first race casualties. Janelle de Villiers, Grant McCleary and Ferdy de Vos are all back in action, but no Craig Baird, Henny Groenewald or Christopher Wade. This is a far better start than in the first race, but Duncan Foss and Mike Briggs are strapped for space on the inside of Conti. There was contact between the 2 cars, and Briggs has spun out. Anthony Taylor is also spinning, with Grant McCleary taking to the dirt. Once again, Killarney has provided for first drama, but there is thankfully no need this time for the red flag, and the Rothmans Audis of Chris Aberdeen and Terry Moss again out in front. Janelle de Villiers has made it past the first corner for the first time in 6 races in Cape Town this season, 3rd in the BP Nissan Sentra. Dion Jabeur is 4th in the Motorplan BMW, followed by Duncan Foss in the 2nd Nissan. Barry Ingle is 6th, and under pressure from Sean van der Linde and Julian Bailey. Championship contenders Chris Aberdeen and Terry Moss have again got just the sort of start they wanted. Aberdeen has to win this race to stand a chance of sneaking the championship via the back door, but all Moss needs is a 3rd place. As long as the 2 Audis keep station as they are, Moss will win the championship. Moss won't mind losing if he wins the war, and there won't be any heroics from him. Coming up to complete the first lap with Barry Ingle in the Mr. Exhaust BMW, running in Class A minors, dropping a couple of positions to Sean van der Linde and Julian Bailey. That is no surprise, and no surprise up front with the 2 Audis leading Janelle de Villiers, who has the bit between his teeth and is forcing Moss into defiance. Terry Moss is under pressure from Janelle de Villiers, who has had a dreadful run of luck this season and has still to score a point in this year's championship. That is certainly no reflection on de Villiers' ability, but driver and car are finally showing their true potential. De Villiers is right on Moss's tail, and Duncan Foss has taken the 2nd BP Nissan Sentra up into 4th place. Foss has moved ahead of Dion Jabeur in the Motorplan BMW, and there will be plenty of excitement in the Nissan pits. Back to race cam action, and Terry Moss will be listening to every beat of the Audi's engine. As this race wears on, he will also hear all sorts of non-existent bangs and rattles from the Audi. The 1996 AA Fleet Care Super Touring Championship is his for the taking, and Moss will be trying to shut his mind to the possibility of a mechanical failure. All he has to do is concentrate on driving smoothly, and the title is his. There is no need to challenge Aberdeen for the lead, but he has his hands full at the moment with Janelle de Villiers. Chris Aberdeen leads the charge down the main straight, and Terry Moss has the BP Nissan Sentra right on his tail, with Conti Corner a prime overtaking spot for Janelle de Villiers. Again, Moss takes up the defensive line on the inside of the circuit, and Janelle de Villiers and the Nissan teams are saving their best for last. Back to the Class B battle, and Charles Wilkin in the Bankman Toyota Corolla is ahead of round 19 winner Nico van Rensburg in the Hillbank Nissan Sentra. Anthony Taylor is in amongst the Class B leaders after his first corner spin. George Besaidnout is third in the second Nissan running in Class B, with local driver Jesse Huggett fourth in the Volkswagen Jetta. Back to the race leaders on lap 6, and to develop between Sean van der Linden